Hey y'all, welcome back to the cheat code. So I just wanted to speak briefly about the Perez Hilton incident because I was curious about it when it came up in my feed. Um, Understanding that he had, I guess you could say, maybe even another near-death experience with self-harm. Um, so my understanding was that he was on live and that he was undressed or unclothed and that he was attempting to self-harm with a kitchen utensil. And I was trying to figure out, why or how this happened because I'm a very visual person. So, seeing someone's facial expression, seeing, how things start to end, it allows me to pick up messages. Sometimes I'll channel things, sometimes just intuitively, things will come to me. But I was strongly warned from all the little clips that I saw, do not watch it, even if you happen to come across it, especially on certain platforms. As it has been removed, some people have still posted things and you don't want to see it. And I don't want to traumatize myself and expose myself to it, but that's just, sometimes how I pick up my messages best through images. They just prompt different things for me. So what I was thinking about was that because he had his near-death experience earlier this year and he was talking a lot about Jesus and, kind of basically being reborn again and reborn again, born again, that it could be that, it's trying, maybe he was trying to reconcile, like from a psychological standpoint, it could be him reconciling his past with his present, kind of, in a mental state, kind of being like, wow, I was really cruel to people. And things catch up to you eventually and you don't know how it's going to come across. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know how it would work in that way, but that's a possibility I was thinking. The other thing that I was thinking is that if he really was, because he had absolutely like no care or concern for the things that he was saying about people in the past. And I do remember at a certain point, there was somebody that he had affected really negatively. And he kind of had a change of heart where he said, okay, I'm not going to go as far. I think he might have been sued if I'm not mistaken, but he said, I'm not going to go as far as I used to. And, he stopped reporting things in such a, deprecating kind of way. It was more kind of like, I'm still going to be me, but I'm just not going to, say really disparaging things about people in the way that I used to. And I was thinking, if you want to look at it just using these terminologies for, argument's sake, it's almost like the devil was using him and then him having his near death experience and then having his coming to Jesus moment. It was kind of like maybe the devil was like, well, I thought, people go through their near death experience and they're like, okay, Jesus saved me, God saved me, I'm good. But it's like, hey, now come back to the other side. I still need you to do my work. And he could have had one of those situations where, spiritually he could have been attacked. That was another thing that I was thinking. Um, what was happening though is I found a clip of him talking about his move to Miami, and that when he moved to Miami, that he was spiraling. And he said that I guess his normal practices, things that he would do, he kind of fell out of those practices and he needed to get back into it. He started reading from Exodus. And when he said Exodus, for whatever reason, my mind heard Exodus, but it still also heard Revelations. And then he mentioned two names in Exodus. I can't remember the names, but I heard Beelzebub and I heard Baal or Baal. I don't remember how it's pronounced, but I know that Beelzebub is a demon. I think Baal or Baal is a demon as well, but some other kind of entity or something like that. I have to do my research on that. But anyway, I feel like my guides were trying to tell me that there might be some spiritual influence of the negative kind that caused him to behave the way that he did. One thing I have to say though is thank God that his children weren't home and that he was by himself, because that would have been extremely traumatic. But what I was doing was I was just trying to see whether or not my guides wanted me to pull on that energy with his guides' permission, and of course, with God's permission, if there is a message or something that can help, all the parties involved, for their highest and greatest good. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards and see what messages come out to see if there's any additional information to add to this story. Okay, so I've pulled three cards from the Haunted House deck, and then also three cards from the Zombie Tarot deck. So let's see what we get here. So I got the Five of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. So let me see what I'm getting from this here. So just a reminder, this is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. Again, I pulled the Five of Cups, the Seven of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles from the Haunted House deck. So what I'm getting from the imagery, what it's prompting me, is that I feel like the Three Cups represent his children, and the Two Cups represent that he could have been under the influence. There could have been maybe medications or things of that nature involved. I apologize for any noise in the background. I also get depression. I also get that there was, like with the shadowy figures in the background of the Seven of Swords, I also get that there could have been some sort of dark influence that came over him, or that he might have been dodging for a while. And with the Page of Pentacles, I'm getting that there was some sort of intervention, prayer. It could be spiritual, but I'm also getting, and I understood that his family was there. So there's some intervention that came that did not allow him to complete the act. So I'm going to look at the cards now from the Zombie Tarot deck and see what we get. Okay, so I pulled 3 cards from the Zombie Tarot deck, and I got the Seven of Wands, the Ten of Cups, and the Three of Wands. So let me take a look here and see what I'm getting. First, what I'm getting with the imagery from the Seven of Wands is it looks as though someone's like trying to say, don't, stop, stop, stop. What I was picking up from that, though, is, the obvious that it could be that someone was trying to get him to stop what he was doing. But I'm also getting that it could be from the commentary that he had about celebrities and things like that, that someone or people in general were, against his perspective on how he was delivering news about celebrities. From the Ten of Cups, I'm getting that he could have been feeling like that part of his life was over, the negative parts of his life, whatever he was doing, that he felt that was not really following his new walk, his new faith, that even like a baptism or something, just again, probably referencing the rebirth, could have made him feel like, again, that part of his life was over. Now with the Three of Wands, let me take a look here. With the Three of Wands, I'm getting the same sort of information that I felt earlier, which is that it's almost like if it was spiritual, that it's almost like whatever dark energies were seeing him just living his life peacefully. And, again, with his walk with God, it's kind of like they were trying to interrupt that and trying to bring him back to wherever he was before. Because literally the imagery is showing like 3 zombies trying to bust into a house where they're celebrating and just having a good time and being at peace and having joy in their life. So that's what I'm picking up from just this quick little read here. Hopefully it provides some insight. I pray for him and his family and for his recovery, and I hope that he's doing well. And again, thank you for tuning in. It's the cheat code. Just a little bonus. I was guided to look at the bottom of the deck for the zombie deck cards, and I actually just took a peek at the tarot haunted house deck, and at the bottom of the zombie tarot deck was the Wheel of Fortune. So that's giving me that there could be karma as well. The bottom of the deck usually is things that are unseen, unknown. And at the bottom of the deck for the haunted house, I got the Page of Swords, and I'm getting projection from that. So some sort of something that was interfering with his thoughts and projecting on him. So again, thank you again for tuning in. It's the cheat code.